Yo, what's up, baby?
Yeah. What's up?
What's up, baby boy? Um, yeah, what were you doing again? Because I kind of forgot.
Uh, I said I would be taking the pro life position, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I'll just, like, take, I guess I'll just, like, a moral constructivist shit where I just see if your argumentation is, like, coherent enough to actually be logically considerable or something like that. Considering that's, like, the method for, moral constructivist shit. So, yeah, let's get into it. What's,
Yeah,
your,
I don't understand. Can yeah? Oh well, my argument is simply just that unborn humans should be treated with the same sort of consideration as born humans, because it is the case that unborn humans are numerically identical to later counterparts that have valuable features such as moral agency, such as sentience, such as capacity for higher rationale. And if it is the case that unborn humans are numerically identical to these later counterparts, then they should be treated with that same sort of consideration. Meaning that if it would be wrong to kill me now, that's the same as saying it would have been wrong to kill me as a zygote or a fetus.
Okay, so here's the problem. Okay, so you could sit there and say there's potentiality for this at having to be numerically identical. But here's the thing: numerical identity just fits with all qualitative properties to the set ontology to fit Leibniz's law within that said thought experiment, or just not thought experiment. Sorry, the fucking model which it uses to actually coherently address that law of indiscriminables. That's basically what the law of identity operates. Not the law of identity. Numerical identity operates under. But if it's the case that you can gain agencies like this, since numerical identity works with matching all these set properties, as stated from the reference to Leibniz's law from earlier, and if it's the case you grant higher rationale, this and that, But here's the problem: each rationale, as like observed from the world around, there's retarded people, there's dumb people, there's smart people. Obviously not everyone is on the same IQ, therefore there creates a distinction between those qualitative measurements and qualitative properties, which they do not have the same measurement, which they cannot be identical to one another in the sense that they hold the same actual like properties. So say for example you could say essentials, right, this and that, like you could say it's like essentially higher rationale, but the point about numerical identity is that it's exactly to the point, like the same value, this and that, the same fucking value. But if there is the case, there's distinction. Obviously, it's the case, it's not the same. But I do see what you mean about the human thing. But what if I was just to say that I also don't give a fuck? So, the whole point about the flow argumentation is that that numerical identity bullshit doesn't hold. The fucking meta bullshit does not hold. And then I could simply just say I don't give a shit about the fucking fetus, kill it. That's my morals, etc. I don't necessarily think it would hold that it's like immoral according to my, moral standards. So any reductio towards that?
Any reductio towards what exactly?
Towards what I just proposed as the counter argumentation.
I mean, I don't see how when you're posting this about numerical identity, I didn't notice any sort of like substantive attack. Like all I'm simply saying is that like there is persistence as a human organism, right? And if that's the case, then I don't see why we have to treat both of these entities, a mature organism and a recently birthed organism with like some sort of difference. I just like don't grasp that concept.
Okay, sure. I'll go into more elaboration so I can like help under like grasp the concept. So again, speaking from a moral constructivist stance, as stated from
Hmm.
in the clarification of the beginning of the recording, numerical
Hmm.
identity also works under the Leibniz's law. That's the specific thing. Numerical identity is an analytical truth that it just holds that has the same value. Each one has the same value. Each qualitative property and qualitative measurement which assigns the said property, not assigns it, but gives this said thing a rather like prescriptive relationship, would hold the same value and etc. That's how we use that in that sense. And if it's the case, someone does not have the same value as this specific property, it does not line up to numerical identity, because numerical identity is supposed to be used as what I just mentioned before, you know, And if it's the case, that's you said case, it does not match up the same value. There's a contradiction, and obviously utilizing the moral constructivist stance, there's the contradiction which proves inconceivability. That's the point about that. And then, what do you have to say for the other argumentation I gave towards the consideration of immorality?
The considerate. Well, you can restate the consideration of immorality, and then I'll address the thing you just said about how
Numerical.
the constructivist stance has to deal with qualitative things, and numerical identity won't fall in that domain.
No, 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 I didn't say the constructivist stance has to deal with that. I'm saying since I'm utilizing the constructivist stance, that would help me towards, gain a more conclusive or epistemic parsimonious type thing towards what I'm
Mhm.
arguing. I'm not saying it holds within the stance in itself, nor how it grounds that. Mainly it's just utilizing it. Just go. What I'd say it's preserved by the stance. I would rather say that it's better than that. Not like
Mhm.
within the stance. I think that's like clearly two distinct things. But yeah, I'll restate
Mhm.
the moral thing real quick. I just said, what if I don't give a shit about killing this fetus, and what if it just holds to my moral consideration that it's definitely the case that I can just like kill it, not consider it any like legal thing because we're talking about morals. Like considering this argumentation depends upon morality. I'm just saying like, what if my morality and my stance for why this should be the case and what counteracts this argumentation would be that what if someone or say for example a plural set of people want babies killed, right? But not in just like unjustified thing because I should have clarified this earlier, and that would be my fault on that. So I'll grant that it's my fault. But mainly what I'm talking about in that sense set, what if it's more a justifiable way towards like a society in general that it's more beneficial for killing this baby? Like, what if people just have these specific morals? It's more suitable for the society. Say for an example, like that.
I don't understand how killing babies would be useful for society. Can you expand on that?
No, 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 no. I'm not saying. Okay, hold on. I'm saying, what if these specific people would hold to that morals within this specific society? I'm not saying it's like beneficial towards society, this and that. But I'm saying, what if it's followed, and how it's treated within this specific society. I'm not saying it's like more so beneficial. I'm saying, these specific, this specific moral agency is withheld by these specific agents in this regard. So I'm just like asking that question, like, what do you think like a proper contradiction could be arise from that, or a simple, thing which can make it seem absurd?
I mean, if it comes to be the case that there's a society that goes out and thinks that way, all I would simply say is that I reject that way of thinking and I disapprove of it. I would just simply posit that it's going to be, at least under the conditions that I have been raised around and the standards that I have noticed and how I have noticed a functioning, a normal society to be, that just randomly butchering babies isn't going to be not only bad for the mental health of the societal members, but would also cause a bad look to that society as a whole. But I don't mean that I would reject it in an objective manner. I would just simply say that I disapprove of that action. But I don't understand how further you can go from that.
Okay, so judging based upon that,
Mhm.
say response towards that, saying that you obviously raised around that, those specific standards which you uphold, it's obviously gonna be not so beneficial towards the mental health. But what if it's more so something which can benefit, like say for example, like I'm guessing this can be conceivable under specific things because I'm granting like conceivability, logical conceivability towards this thing for a moral agent. But like, what if someone is so fucked up, or these specific people are so fucked up in this like random fucking country? Like, say for example, your fucking anus is a country within a random framework, right? And
Mhm.
people within your anus sit there and they want to kill babies,
Uh-huh.
like, so how would this be more so not beneficial to the health if they're being denied that access by the government? Would it not, affect the population within Uranus Like,
Mm-hmm.
would it not do that? Like, so what's your response towards that? Like, if it's clear
Wait,
that, yeah, wait, wait,
let me make sure. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry. I thought you were trying to cut me off. My bad.
No, no, you.
My bad if I'm also cutting you off. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to be
That's
interrupting.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I'm mainly saying is that if it's gonna be the case that it's not beneficial towards those mental health of those specific people that you can observe, based upon your own standards of which you can, perceive, but it's also the case
Mm-hmm.
that these things are beneficial towards the mental health of these people, like I've already described within the framework. If it's the case, is that not a contradiction arise if you're saying it's not beneficial, but it is also beneficial? Does not signify a contradiction?
Let me make sure I understand the attempt for the contradiction. You're saying that, like, due to the reason I gave earlier, right?
Wait, wait, wait,
That I
wait,
would
wait,
say that it would. Mm-hmm.
I just need to give clarification. Like, I'm not saying there is a contradiction. I'm asking you if you think there would be a contradiction
No,
arise from that. You
uh,
know, if it is the case that it obviously is not beneficial for mental health, but then sit there, it is more so
oh,
beneficial
oh,
towards mental
yeah,
health.
yeah.
Like,
Now, yeah. Now I understand. But like, I just okay. What? How can I explain this? Okay, when I say that something isn't beneficial, like for mental health, like I say that the language that's being used here, I'm not trying to like posit objective like standards. Like when I say X would be X would be harmful to like your mental health, that's just according to my preferences and things that I've been conditioned around, right? So obviously when it comes to like a society that, and that's why I even asked earlier, like, oh, a society that benefits off of these things happening. That's why I wanted to come in and give an example. When it comes to be the case that, like, let's just say they're in the world that I live in, killing babies is wrong because most of the time we believe that babies are innocent, pure life forms that have done no wrong, blah blah blah. But then there's going to be this society that says that, oh, it is okay because they think they're the spawn of Satan, right? Under that society's standards, it would be okay, but under my standards, I would simply disagree with them. That's the whole thing that I'm going across. Like,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
positing objective standards.
yeah. I
I
get
think
that. I
that's
get
yeah.
that about the
Mhm,
whole. What I'm just trying to say is that based upon what you said before, saying that
mhm,
it would be not beneficial. That's the main point I was trying to get at. I'm not trying to internally critique what you were suggesting because I do understand it. It's just more relativism. Multiple different
mhm,
cultures. I get
mhm,
that part, but mainly what I'm saying is that there is say for example, obviously I don't think it
mhm,
could be this beneficial, if that's even a fucking word for the framework of Uranus. Okay, sorry,
mhm,
I'm abusing that word so much. But
mhm,
I just think I don't necessarily think that would be a non-beneficial thing if it is beneficial towards them, because that's my main point. I just think saying that
uh-huh.
it's kind of like a blender towards that. But I mean, I guess we could just move on from this point because I don't see anything else, going towards the progression of this because we already, came to a standstill of what we mean, and it's obviously the case that we kind of agree with each other's points.
I mean, the thing is, I don't. When it comes to these type of debates, I always hold to subjectivism due to the fact that I just simply don't see a reason why. At least some people don't realize it, but most of the time they do appeal to like subjectivist standards, and when they try to appeal to objective standards, most of the time they just go back to the relativist route. Just when it comes to that, I don't think like you and me can have, because like constructivism, although it has like the trails of objectivism, in a way some people can like tweak it to be like relativist or whatever. But when
Yeah,
it
yeah,
comes to both of our positions, yeah, I don't think just because we have conflicting positions and we're both subjectivists, I don't think there's like going to be anything wrong with progressing conversation or having a continuation of that of the debate.
yeah. But mainly the point I'm going at is because obviously, the points we brought up, mainly what I'm just suggesting is that the points within the progression of the debate, I'm just saying that the
Uh-huh.
points come to a standstill. Like you already understand mine. Like you are, it's obviously the case that because earlier I'm pretty sure you said you did see like a contradiction arise from the within the societal structure of Uranus, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's mainly what I'm just saying is that the points have already like come to an end. There's already a mutual understanding, and like I'm pretty sure that shit wouldn't even progress. But back to one of the other points we had earlier. It was about numerical identity. You said you were gonna respond towards that. Do you have your response written, or do you need to like?
No, no, no. I didn't write it. But when it comes to like numerical identity, the thing that I was trying to address at least was that it was a way of language of me trying to say of like persistence, right? Because usually when I use the term numerical identity, I'm positing it with interchangeably with personal identity, and I just believe that it's
Oh,
yeah. I use
okay.
both terms
Yeah, I get that.
interchangeably. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't necessarily think both terms are interchangeable just due to how they're used and which like
Mm-hmm.
models that's because numerical identity, like as I already explained before, the definition just has to deal with, the exact same value. Say for example, if I was to live in Uranus, right, and I have the same
Mm-hmm.
fucking properties as these guys inside Uranus, I would have the same numerical, value to these guys. That would be sort of like numerical identity, and that would fit like something like Leibniz's law. But personal identity, I think that's more so like distinct. So, like to even have like interchangeable things, like hold on, let me look up the fucking definition because my brain ain't branding right now. Interchangeable. Okay, yeah, things that are just like things just things can stick. Yeah, whatever. I'm not fucking analogy. Yeah, identical, just identical. Yeah, I don't hold that like person identity, numerical identity would be like similar in that retrospect, but that's a completely different subject than what we're on.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can just like end the recording at this point because like I don't think there's nothing else to discuss. Good
Yeah, I mean
debate.
that's fine. Yeah, yeah, good debate, good debate. You can upload it if you want to. It's whatever if you want. So
Yeah, I would rather ask for your consent first, than just post and be an asshole.
why we don't care about consent, anyways.
Okay, that's wild to say, bro. Um, yeah, see you, man. Love you.
All right, all right. Bye, bye. You too. Love you, love you.